they've basically paid $11.45 million to buy implant assets from Consensus Orthopedics. Shanay, it's a pleasure. Great to have you here. Prashant this side. I mean, could you just tell us a little bit more? Are you buying a division? What exactly are you buying here from this company?
So good afternoon, Prashant and Sorel. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to you and all your viewers. This is a landmark deal for Shalby because this is our first acquisition outside the country. And what we have really acquired is the entire set of implant assets from an American company based out in California. And these are basically, into manufacturing of knee replacement implants, hip replacement implants, and they also make revision systems. So these are all US FDA products, and we have essentially we've essentially acquired the patents, the PP&E, and the inventory of of this entire company. So the other division that we did not acquire was basically into medical technology, which was something to do with a completely different line of a completely different segment. So essentially, the way we look at this is that we have essentially retained all the employees to do with the implant business. So it's as good as buying an ongoing business, in the US.
Shanay, good afternoon. I wanted to speak to you about the opportunity from this acquisition. What kind of addition will it do to your overall pie? And the other segment that you were talking about, which you did not acquire. Any plans to acquire that in the future to expand your portfolio?
Well, to be honest, the way we see this is, looking at the total market cap of the company, which is $250 million plus, it's a comparatively smaller size of acquisition that we have done, because we know that this is our first step outside the country. However, having said that, this particular company has the ability to manufacture 20,000 implants every year. And essentially, the average realization of these particular implants in the developed and regulated markets is typically very high. So essentially, the capacity of this plant, if all the capacity is used, for selling in the US, you are expecting revenues in excess of $40 million from this particular assets. However, we have our internal consumption as well, which we have to fulfill, and there will be some implants that will be coming to India and will be used in India. So as you know, Shalby is the largest joint replacement center globally, and we contribute to about 15% of the Indian market share. Essentially, and also the fact that we are getting into the whole franchisee model. Our in-house consumption is almost at over 10,000 now, and that is growing at 15-20% every year. So this new implant company will also help us fulfill our internal supplies as well.
Right. Got it. So just to clarify, this will you will basically supply to, of course, your own needs, to meet your own needs, but also sell to outside entities, right? Both.
Absolutely. And we've built a complete ecosystem around this. So we have a new vice chairman of the company, Mr. Sushoban Das Gupta, who has recently joined us. He spent about 30 years in Johnson & Johnson in his last role, he was looking after the entire Asia Pacific region. And Mr. Daniel Hayes has also joined us. He's an American, and he's the one who founded this company, in fact, 25 years back. So essentially, he's back to play his second innings with this company.
Okay. Shanay, can we now talk about the second wave of COVID? How has it impacted your occupancy? It was around 100% for COVID-19 patients the last time we spoke. And how do you expect it to pan out in coming quarters?
See, that's a good question. So in Q4, we saw roughly that, we had about 540 beds occupied through the quarter. And essentially, in Q1, the way things are going, of course, when the COVID was at its peak, we had an occupancy in four digits, and essentially that was for a very long period of time. However, of course, looking at the current situation, the things are much better. the number of patients, the number of influx in terms of COVID patient has come down significantly. Having said that, the good thing is that we are also seeing, elective work coming back. So, as you have seen the results of the previous quarter, there was an 80% increase from Q3 to Q4 in terms of, the elective work that we did. In fact, January and February, because of the low COVID cases, we did the highest ever elective work in Shalby's history. So once COVID subsides, which we all know it is going down, we see that this entire pent-up demand is likely to come back over the next few quarters.
I mean, could you give us some idea in terms of what this will mean in terms of revenues, etc.? You can take guidance from, say, what you did every month pre-COVID, before COVID struck.
Right. So the way we think things are going is, we will continue with the kind of run rate and the growth we have been seeing from Q2 to Q3 and then Q3 to Q4. So, we see that, we will be able to maintain these numbers, because the way we are seeing is, when the COVID cases are high, we essentially end up doing a lot of COVID work, a lot of medical work. But at the same time, when that comes down, we are able to do a significantly high amount of elective work. And as we know, that because a lot of patients have been stranded and have not been able to come to hospitals for getting their elective work done, there is a significant pent-up demand built up. So I would say that, Q4 was probably a good idea in terms of, it really gives us a good sense on what the coming quarters will look like.
Okay. Shanay, last question before we let you go. Are you entering into any agreements with vaccine manufacturers? Anything about procuring vaccines on the cards?
Absolutely. So we have already given advances to a lot of these vaccine manufacturers, and we believe that Shalby has a role to play in the contribution of getting people vaccinated. Our in-house capacity is to vaccinate about 7,000 to 8,000 people every day across our group of 11 hospitals. And essentially, it really, we all are aware that, there are issues with the supplies. So we are working hard, and we are likely to get supplies from 2 or 3 companies early next month in June.